Bottoms coming with another video review. And on today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the new Hot Toys ACS004 of the Iron Man Mark 50 Accessories 1/6 scale collectible set. And this set has actually caused a bit of, I guess, a heated discussion, I could say, in the 1/6 scale collecting community. And I'll get to that in due time, but I do want to try to keep this as objective as a video review as possible. So starting off first with the package, you can see you got a gorgeous image of Iron Man in the Mark 50 suit right there. You got the Avengers Infinity War logo, come around here to the side. You do have that nice image of the Infinity Gauntlet, kind of hard to see. The box is actually fairly big, and you get a continuation of that image. You can see it's about maybe a third bigger than a normal size box would be. It's about the same thickness, but the other side here has just that Avengers A logo that you can kind of see right here, kind of bleeding over to the back, or the side. The back of the package, as usual, has the various warnings and contact information for Hot Toys. It is a slip style package, so you just lift that up. On the back of the package here, you got the Avengers A, and then you can see down here towards the bottom, you got the cast and crew responsible for making the figure. Spin it around back towards the front, and this is what you have. As I said, this is an accessory set, and you do have that nice open window that fully showcases all of those individual pieces. So fairly simplistic with a package, but really does what it needs to do. So without further ado, let's get these out here and see how cool they actually are. Alright guys, so here we have the accessories opened up and out of their packaging. And as always, you do get the nice instruction sheet with it. I do recommend going through it. Obviously, it shows how to do everything. It also shows in this instruction sheet the battle damage mask, which was an exclusive additional accessory that you could get if you got this through Sideshow. I elected not to get that one because everything you see here and everything on that Mark 50 release was really clean. So I feel like having a battle damage just face mask really was kind of pointless, honestly. I mean, it's silly to have just that one piece of battle damage, but you can see how you hold all the other accessories and things like that, and it warned you not to drop it on you or anything of that nature. And I'll show how to attach everything on the Mark 50. But starting off first, we have his booster rockets. When he asked Friday for a little extra power while he was chasing after Doctor Strange, when Doctor Strange was abducted and flying away on that ship. All of these have a tremendous amount of detail on here. Coming in a little bit more, you can see gorgeous paint applications, if I can keep it focused on there. Gorgeous paint applications. All of this is made out of plastic, which is something I'll touch on in a bit, but you can still see an absolute gorgeous amount of paint detail, which really does give a very nice metallic look. You can see how the legs here, basically, like you can see like these are basically the front of the shins, and then with the nanotechnology got bigger here, which is absolutely gorgeous. I love how that worked. And then you see at the bottom here, nice homage to that triangle arc reactor, as that's the way that the thruster shape is. You got a little blue extra paint right there, some extra blue paint on the inside bits here. Just overall, really very nice looking. Sticking with the rest of the legs. Now, a lot of these were used at different times. This is the shield that he used. I guess I can go on to this one next. You got a really nice spring-loaded contraption on the inside here that allows him to hold it, and then you got a nice felt pad on the inside. One thing that I'll talk about right up front is this. You got these nice little blue and white areas that nicely replicate in energy effects, I guess. But when you look at something like the sword here, you can see that the sword has this nice frosted bit of blue plastic throughout there. I really wish they did something similar with this and even these little blades right here. It just doesn't look like it's got that same energy effect that is being created by the nanotech suit like you got here with the blade. That's the same kind of thing with all these little bits right here. You can see that they use this blue and white paint throughout the entire thing. Not so much on that, that's just the thrusters itself, but that's just that. I mean, a lot of these, yeah, I mean, that's on there, and then you have these little bits right here. That's actually not too bad, but definitely these two pieces I feel could have had some of that extra detail put in there with like that translucent bit. But overall, really very nice. Again, I like how that's a spring-loaded thing, so it can sit on there very nicely. Now, this is the first shield that we saw him generate. The second one came with the Mark 85, and that was all like a translucent piece. So if they do an accessory set for that or anything of that nature, I really hope they go with that route instead of this here. But the red and the gold still look absolutely gorgeous, very nice and metallic. Paint applications in general are not something that Sideshow really does struggle with. He also does come with a right and left, I don't even know how you would describe it, just like a stabilizer leg or something. I mean, you could see that, again, they very nicely look like his legs. It's just the nanotechnology forms in a different kind of way. So instead of creating a regular looking foot, this is the foot that he used to kind of dig in on Titan when he was about to smash him. And you can see you got some articulation points right there. You have one here. Yeah, all of these have a nice range of motion in it. I feel like this one gets a little bit higher than these ones. So, I mean, that's, you know, kind of angle that, I guess. But you can flatten that. I do kind of wish you could get a little bit more flat to the ground. Just to really get it digging in there. But again, great detail on there. You can see where the repulsor is here on the bottom of the foot area. Again, you can kind of see that leg shape with the shin area, and then these pieces spraying out from him. And does that move? No, that actually moves. And then the little gripper things coming out to grab hold of the ground. You got this section here. Was this a blaster? He used so much that I understand why they didn't include all of this. It really would have raised the price on that original release, but we did just get the two arm blasters and the back wing section. So I wish some of this other stuff was incorporated into that. We'll touch on that here in a little bit, but that's a very expensive piece, and this isn't cheap either. But you do have this section here, which again, I believe it was just a gun, some kind of a blaster of sorts. I'll take a closer look later on, but he used so much of this stuff before. These bits right here, he used this kind of like pile drivers to punch them. I want to say that he used them in conjunction with that, where he formed his feet and then came around and he smashed them in the face with these. These attached to the arms. Again, you got some nice felt padding on here to really protect that die cast, which is nice. Again, though, I do wish some of the little blue and white paint was this translucent plastic that they went with on the blade. I think it just would have looked a little bit better. You got little thrusters here in the back. Even those have some nice blue paint added in there. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but coming in to take a closer look here, I mean, great detail if it focuses. Great detail throughout the entire thing. And then again, like I was saying, if it focuses, you can see right around these little bits right here, you got some blue paint. Obviously, those are the little thrusters to give them some extra boost. Some nice blue paint on the inside bits here as well. Overall, again, tremendous amount of detail. All plastic, though, so bear that in mind as I go forward. He does come with this dual blade, which looks terrific. To utilize this, they did include two different hands. You get a right and left hand that you can use with the body. Plugs in there just like the regular one did, but depending on what you want to choose for your display, you just kind of wedge that in there like so. And now he's able to hold that very easily in his hand. But again, tremendous amount of detail. Just wishing again they went with a little bit better paint applications. It's not that these paint applications are bad. I just wish it was done a little bit better. I mean, you totally could have put that little frosted bit in the blue translucent section, and I think it would have looked much cooler. But you got that nice red, silver, gold kind of highlighted throughout there as well. And like I said, you can use those hands with that. He also does come with this really nice bladed weapon that I keep bragging about, and I absolutely love the way that this looks. It has a little bit of fuzz on there as it's a very kind of staticky, but this is the part that I love. I love that translucent blade that goes throughout there. And again, this just attaches to the arm. You can see kind of how the arm shape is with the forearm bit right down here. I just loved seeing him use some physical weapons to beat up Thanos. That was really very fun, not really relying on just his actual like weapons, like missiles, laser beams, things like that. I loved seeing melee weapons being used with him. He also does come with the blade, that broke the camel's back. So you can have this section right here. This piece also can attach to this as if Thanos ripped this off and then stabbed him. And that part messed me up. I'm not even gonna lie. So you can take this and you can put this right in here. You get an additional hand with an additional peg section here that you line that up and peg that into them, so then you can use this while Iron Man's using it, or if, like I said, you wanted to replicate this being ripped off of him, you can then replace this piece as if it was just ripped off of his entire arm of sorts, and then you can have Thanos holding this piece, which I do like that. And again, you got some really nice battle damage on there, kind of showing not so much like tech detail, but kind of like melty plastic, which I wish they could have done a little bit better of a job with that, but it is what it is. And then the final accessory is this hand gauntlet. Well, not even a hand gauntlet, it's a hand thing. I don't know what you do with this. You if you have the Thanos figure, this is the arm that you can open everything up just like that. So this is magnetic, and it attaches like so. Then you have to really kind of futz with this to get this in a proper kind of configuration where and it doesn't work very well. I'll just be totally honest. So you have to try and put the fingers in the proper locations, and the magnet just kind of shifts down. But you see what it's supposed to be doing. It's meant to replicate that little device that he threw at Thanos to keep his hand from closing. So you do get that, and you can use this with Thanos as well. I mean, like I said, you can use this piece with Thanos as well. So it is nice to see that they have some kind of cross-play with the different accessories and things like that. This one, I just feel like it's just not lining up all that good. I mean, maybe I'm just doing it kind of wrong, but I mean, that's a little bit better, but I mean, you can't really get the fingers all that pushed down. I mean, I guess you could kind of go like that. I mean, but then that's like not even lined up proper, so you gotta move that. So something like, yeah, and then you move it and the whole magnet thing shifts. So it's close. Yeah, it's a good display option if you wanted to go with it. It's something that he used, so it is what it is. But here we go. Let's bring in the Iron Man figure itself, and let's start attaching some of these. It's really very simple how you attach it. Let me zoom up here, starting off first with his arms. First, let's start with this guy. All you do is you give it a little tug, and it comes away just like that. And we're going to take this big giant blade, and this then just goes up and in and kind of locks into place like so. And again, the integration here is actually really very cool. Like I said, you got this piece right here, which basically looks just like the arm. It swells a little bit, obviously, but it does integrate very, very nicely. These are the forearm weapons that we're going to go with. So pulling this arm down, this was another forearm weapon, and you take this and you put this piece right up like this on the side, I think. There we go. So you have this. Again, I'm not certain what this is for. A cannon. I mean, it kind of looks like it, or maybe some kind of a thruster. I don't know. But again, integrates very, very nicely with everything very easily. You can see it just pops in there, stays in there pretty good. It locks in fairly decently. So I'm going to put this one back in there, and you feel a slight grab as you do it. So putting that back up in there and locking that in, it stays in there very securely, but like I said, comes out also up fairly easily. Now for the bladed weapon here on the hand, this is where you want to take this hand here. You're going to pop this hand off, well, as I gave a little bit extra pull right there, and then you put this on there, and then you take this, and this piece, oh wait, yeah, that piece is going to go right on like so. Now this part here does get a little bit odd looking, but this does get a little bit weird looking because you got this jagged section right here, there's really not much that you can do with that. That, I feel, is not as integrated as it could have been, which is definitely unfortunate. But you can then rip this out. Obviously, you'd probably want to put his hand back in there and then get him to stand there. Again, this is where you can take the hand, remove that. You can then take this bit here, put that there, and you can see that that actually integrates a lot better as it kind of sits like down here. And then obviously you can take his hand if you really wanted to and kind of have him sort of hold it, not really, but kind of just rests right there. So you can do that as a display option as well. For his arm sections, again, we're going to, or these little forearm weapons, we're going to take these bits off as well, set that off to the side, and hopefully I have that in the right area. Let me see here. I'm going to put this here, and then gotta make sure that I have the right and left one. So this is the left, and that's the left arm. So something like that. There we go. Plug that in just like so, and then bring this one in, and again slide this in just like so. And now you have those Frenzy Rumble weapons, pile drivers, which again do nicely integrate with it. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit of a separation right up here. It's not too bad, but you can lift these arms up like so. And this is where I was saying that I feel like those pieces he locked down so that he could push and punch him a little bit better. They don't really bend though once you have it here. They're kind of stuck in this position, so you really limit the articulation. I do wish that you could have extended these in some way to give more of that punching kind of gimmick. But let's show off those leg bits here. So again, for the legs, you're just gonna pull these down. This is a little bit tricky for the legs, so give that a good pull. There we go. And then again, that's made out of die cast, as a lot of the parts here in the leg are. So pull that down, set that off to the side, and then you bring these bits in just to kind of give you a idea of how that will look. Oh, maybe it goes on that side. It's hard to, no, maybe it's this side. It's hard to tell actually. There we go. That again locks into place. That piece will then give that a good push down. Lock that into place. So again, this is a little bit tricky to utilize because of how big they are, and there is no ankle joint with it. So you're kind of left manipulating these in a way that really doesn't work very well. I feel maybe if you just use one or the other, I guess, or yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to futz with this a lot there. Maybe something along those lines. Yeah, a little bit like that, and then put that up like so. It's okay, but again, you're limiting what you're able to do with this guy. So is that a plus to you if you're a collector? It's all up to you ultimately at the end of the day. So pull this, really, there we go, pull that out. Now, the first thing that we saw him using, let me take these out. Well, not the first thing. One of the first things that we saw him using, ironically, we don't get in any accessory pack, and that would be, oh look, he's like the Anakin Skywalker of Hot Toys right now, would be those little floating weapons that came out from his back. Never got those. That would have been a cool inclusion. So let me put these arms back in, both sides. But one of the things that we saw him kind of use early on were these little thrusters. So getting this lined up, you see you have the two peg holes right here. You just put this right down there. That is a little bit tricky to do. And then you can kind of lock that down, but it is tough. So make sure you get those both in there kind of as best as you can, and then just straighten everything out. But here is his little thruster add-on, which is cool. I really do like that. Again, it does limit the articulation, but it's just meant as a display sort of thing. So he's going to sit there and do this as he's trying to catch that spaceship. So again, really very cool that they included it. The interconnectivity though is tough, because you got to pull both of these out kind of at the same time. There we go. So setting that off to the side like that, and then bringing in his legs. I already showed you how to do this. It's literally just swapping out the hand and having him hold it. So I'm not going to focus too much on that, but bring the feet in, lock that in. And then as you're doing it with this, also be careful of the knee section. As you can see, this, as you're putting it over, has a tendency to want to go above this knee bit. So make sure you bend this a little bit to get that going on the outer section, and then lock that down. And the last piece here is going to be his shield. So you take his arm, put it up like so, and then you have this little section here with the little spring loady gimmick that you wrap around. That can be a little bit tricky to do as well. And again, you don't want to scratch anything, so bring that up like that. And I'm trying to feel, it actually looks like it has it wrapping around there. Okay, so that's what you want to do. You want to wrap it around the forearm sections, it looks like. I guess it really doesn't matter. Either way, it kind of holds on there. But here's Iron Man with this shield. Again, really cool accessory for it. I do wish that the paint was better, but you can, you know, something like that, and then have them be protected. So lots of accessories with this. That again, a lot of them I wish came with the original release. But again, I do get why they split things up as they did. It probably made things easier for collectors, and made it so more people, I'm gonna have to put that on there later, would actually pick this up as opposed to passing on it because they thought that it was too expensive. Adding all those extra pieces definitely would have increased the price of that release. So I get it from both standpoints, but the conversation has to be had: is all of this stuff worth that $240 some odd price tag? And that's where the conversation really does need to go. It does come with a lot, but the price you're going to pay for this is also a lot. At about $240 for this entire set, not including this or anything like that. Everything that you see here is what you get. This is $240, and this is where a lot of people have had issue. That original Iron Man figure, the die-cast Mark 50, that already cost a little over $400. And like I said, we didn't really get much. We got that arm replacement section. I think we got like an attachment of a gun on one of his arms, and then we got the back wing section. So most of what we were paying for in that was towards the die-cast figure. In order to kind of complete it and give us more of these accessories, they decided to split things up and give us a separate accessory set here. You know, I get why they did it. If you would have made this all inclusive, you're looking at almost $650 to get that. I feel people would have passed on it because they didn't want all this. So I think what they did was a good idea, splitting things up. What I don't think was a good idea was at $250 giving us just plastic pieces with what I would consider above average paint applications. The red, the silver, the gold all looks terrific, but things like this on there, this on there, these little bits here, I feel are just subpar by their standards. So while I appreciate them splitting it up, I think that at the price point that they're trying to sell this at is where the biggest problem with this set comes from. You know, and I know I messed up on a lot of what these pieces are. Like, for example, this isn't the booster. This is the legs that he formed when he was fighting Thanos and he kicked him. And I mean, this was why I didn't get this at first, but this is the fist unit that he created that's actually responsible for making Thanos bleed. So I know that I kind of screwed up a little bit, and I apologize. But ultimately, I tried to stay objective in this video. This is a really nice set. It really is. The paint applications are very good. The only thing, like I said, that I don't like are these bits here. So everything looks really good. The way that they designed it to kind of blend in with that suit, other than pretty much this piece here, when you add that on and get that in there, well, if I can get it in there, the only part that really doesn't, I would say, integrate really well would be this section right there. So I mean, everything else really does integrate very, very nicely. But ultimately, I gotta look at the price for this. As I said several times in this video, I do appreciate the fact that they separated this from the original release. Even when you include the, like the packaging and stuff, you're still going to be paying over $200 in addition to that figure if they put this in there. So a $400 figure plus maybe a $210, $200 sort of thing would have made that a $600 figure. I feel like Hot Toy fans probably would have paid that, to be totally honest. The Mark 50 was a great suit. It introduced us to the nanotechnology and subsequently took Iron Man in a whole new direction. It essentially made all of that House Party Protocol sort of suits that he made obviously obsolete. I mean, he destroyed them, but the nanotech allows him to kind of at his will create whatever he wants to suit the particular desire at that time. So it was really cool. I really did like that whole nanotech thing. And we got more of it with the Mark 85, which will be coming out later. But I just feel selling this by itself at the $240 price, I don't feel it's worth it. I would be much happier if this was an individual set with brand new packaging. If you put this at about $150, maybe $175, I feel that $240 is a little bit too much. Now, some collectors are absolutely gonna love this. I'm a huge Iron Man fan, but realistically, all of these pieces are dependent on putting your figures in specialty poses. I, as a collector, am not one of those people. So there's almost literally nothing here that is going to end up being displayed. The only thing maybe would be this, and that would be something that would be separated here and put on there, and that would be something that I might have like laying at his feet, having Thanos hold it, something like that. This is about it. I mean, all of them are nice. They really are. But like I said, it just really depends on what kind of posing options you want to do with your figure. I just don't think that it's ultimately worth it. And I think a lot of collectors feel that as well, especially when you consider that it's all plastic and you're putting it on a die-cast figure. I mean, there's all sorts of things that I just feel this is an indulgence. I mean, Hot Toys in general are an indulgence, so don't get me wrong. I'm aware of that. This, though, I don't think really is all that necessary. That being said, though, I am glad that they made it a separate release so you don't have to get this. So there are good and bad elements to it, and ultimately decides on what type of collector you are. So while it's not something that's gonna fit for me, if it fits for you, wonderful. It's your money, spend it how you want. So all that being said, if this set is something that you'd like to add to your collection, it is available right now at Big Bad Toy Store. So for that, I'll put a link down in the video description where you'll go to BBTS and you can check out availability on this, as well as the rest of the wide range of Hot Toy figures. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it, guys, if you would do one small thing for me, and that is to hit that thumbs up button. That one teeny tiny gesture, which literally takes a half a second to do, really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. I'd also like to send a huge thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this review. Another way that you can really help support my channel is making sure that you watch a video all the way through. And if you did that, thank you. I'd also like to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support now more than ever help to make reviews like this possible. And if you'd like information on how you can help out and support my channel, feel free to check out my Patreon page at patreon.com/optibotimus. And finally, remember, grow wise, grow strong, but never grow up. Thank you for watching. I love you, 3000.